So, once again, we're about to start, so last warning, folks. This is being recorded for our YouTube channel. If you do not want to be seen on our YouTube channel, speak up now or forever hold your peace. Alrighty then. I'm not seeing anybody saying no, or TPing away, so we're going to start. This class is presented in voice and text, and there are some visual aids that I will put up on the texture board. Left click on the Firestorm class notes and first aid kit box near me to the left of my avatar from my perspective to get the class notes for all of our classes, as well as a few other goodies. These class notes do get updated semi-regularly, so you may want to grab a fresh copy. The hover text showing May 11th was the last update. We'll always let you know. And the latest class notes are always available in the classroom here. To adjust voice volumes, you can go to the COM menu and click on Nearby Voice to open the Nearby Voice panel. From there, you can adjust individual volumes by slider. If I happen to all of a sudden go real quiet in the middle of a sentence, folks, please say something. SL voice, what can I say? Anyhow, welcome to our Firestorm Preferences Set 4 class based on our 4.6.5 release. The material we're going to go over covers some of our preferences. We're going to go over the colors, notifications, user interface, skin, sound and media, and the crash report tabs. If you have any questions about the topic we're on, please put them in nearby chat. Text is best, and one of us will answer as soon as we can. If you have off-topic questions, please wait until after the class. We hold an open question and answer session after pretty much all of our classes, where you can ask anything you like. And yes, Flossie, that means you can even ask me how the backyard is coming along. So Control P, or Avatar menu, and then Preferences will open your preferences. And we're going to start on the Colors tab. In particular, the Chat Color sub-tab. You can click on these color boxes to choose custom colors for chat. Most of them are pretty obvious, some may not be. System, for example, applies to messages from SL itself. Others refers to other avatars' text. Objects is text from objects, such as the note card reader that I'm using. Direct applies to object-generated text that is only visible to you. And Owner applies to object-generated text from objects that you own that is only visible to you. And chat headers would be the names that you see in chat if you're using the V1 style chat headers. There's an option here, color IM and group chat distinctly in the console. You can enable this if you want to set a different color for IM and group chat that gets displayed in the chat console. Now, the console is the bottom part of your screen. Most people move it over to just the lower left, where local chat gets shown. Any questions on the Chat Colors tab? I'll take that as a no. And we will move on to the Name Tags sub-tab. This is where you can customize the colors for your tag, your friend's tags, Lyndon's tags, as well as for any avatars that you have muted. And then there's the two confusing ones, the match and mismatch choices. Pretty simple explanation. If the avatar's display name actually matches its username, it would show as a match. If not, it's a mismatch. There's an option, color usernames distinctly. This allows you to see usernames in a person's tag in a different color. It assumes that you have both display and usernames enabled. And when you enable that, you'll see the box to choose the custom color. It won't show unless you have that enabled. Color friends names tags distinctly applies the color setting above. So if you set your friends tag to a certain color, this applies that. Then we have your name tag and bubble chat. There's a color box. This is where you can select the background color to be used for name tags, bubble chat, as well as your console chat. This is just the background. And the name tag opacity. This sets the opacity of the background for name tags. Name tag Z offset correction. This allows you to adjust the position of name tags, either up or down. Down would be handy if you're around a bunch of tinies. You don't want their name tags floating over your head, way over their heads. And up would be great for dragons, so that you could actually see it instead of having it right inside them. Show distance in name tag will add the distance that an avatar is from you to their name tag. And color name tags based on distance. This allows you to show colored tags for avatars in whisper range, chat range, shout range, as well as beyond shout range. And you get to choose the colors. Again, when that option is enabled, you will see the boxes to choose the custom colors. And if this isn't enough way of differentiating folks, check out contact sets. Come out to our contact sets class. You can do all sorts of cool things. Any questions on this tab? Flossie just doesn't want me drinking tea. Alright, so let's move on to the mini-map tab and sub-tab then. Background opacity, this lets you change the opacity of the mini-map background. Pick radius, this is where you can vary the color, opacity, and size of the pick circle, which gets displayed under the cursor crosshairs. And mini-map dots, this lets you assign colors for yourself, others, your friends, as well as avatars that you have muted. Then this one, display a ring on the mini-map indicating a local chat range. It lies. When this is enabled, you can choose the colors to use on the mini-map rings that not only indicate the local chat range, but also the shout range. Pretty straightforward stuff so far, right? Any questions on that one, folks? I'm reaching for my tea, Flossie. Shout range is 100 meters. You're quite welcome. Next comes the miscellaneous sub-tab. Selection effects. This is for your particle beam. This lets you choose the color of your selection beam. Script dialog F/B. This lets you choose the colors for the foreground and background of script dialogues. Floating window opacity. This is for any windows that you have open or floaters on your screen. The further left these sliders are, the more transparent they will be. And you can adjust for both the active, which is an in-focus window, as well as an inactive or out-of-focus window. So a window's open if that's the last thing you clicked on. That's active. And console opacity. This lets you adjust the opacity of the background for your console. This is the on-screen chat, not in a window. Then we have always show Script dialogues on an opaque background. When this is enabled, script dialogues will show as opaque windows. With it disabled, their transparency is determined by the active or inactive floating window opacity. Hi Stacy, class notes are available from the box to my left, and just so you are aware, we are recording this for our YouTube channel. Then we have this one, for those of you that like the pie menu. How many of you like the pie menu rather than the context style? Cool. Well, this override pie menu background color and opacity allows you to customize the color, opacity, and fade out of the pie menu. These options will only show if you have it enabled. It lets you make your pie menu much more colorful. Hey Cubic, we are recording this just so you know. Any questions on the miscellaneous colors tab, folks? I'll take that as a no. So let's move on to the notifications tab. In particular, the notifications sub-tab. That one always bothers me. The notifications tab. Hey, but support's all about redundancy anyhow, right? At the top, we have Notify Me, and here you can enable or disable when I spend or get Linden. You can enable this to show your transaction info. Show Linden dollar transactions in nearby chat instead of toast does just that. You won't get toast, you'll get them in nearby chat. When I am charged for an upload, this will show if it's enabled or hide if it's disabled. Notices about uploads that you pay for. This one bothers me just a little bit because why wouldn't you want to know about what you paid for uploads? Well, it did bother me. It doesn't anymore. Last time I updated the class notes, I had to upload about 100 textures. I didn't want to have to click 100 times, okay. So I turned them off. When a landmark has been created, when this is enabled, you will know when you make a new landmark. It'll show up right on your screen. With this disabled, it will just appear in your inventory silently. And then this one, I love this one. When someone changes their display name, if this is enabled, it will show when someone changes their display name on the region that you're on. I love this one because it means I don't have to see them. I can turn it off. I really don't need to know that Joe Blow, that's down on the other corner of the region here, on the bottom level, so over 4,000 meters away from me, has changed his display name. The next one is when I have script errors, you can enable script errors, and having done so, you can enable them in nearby chat or in separate windows. Then there's when my friends log in or out, and your options here are as toasts. This will display a toast when people on your friends list log in or out. Toasts are the little pop-ups that come up on your screen and then fade away after a time. Your other next option is in nearby chat and console. If you don't like using toasts, you can have it show in nearby chat and console. And with that enabled, you have the option of having it show in nearby chat only. But you do need in nearby chat and console enabled there. Again, another plug for the contact sets class. You can selectively get online, offline notices for members of sets. So if you don't want to have online, offline notices for everybody on your friends list, but just some people, you can do that. Then there's play a sound when my friends log in, as well as log out. And any estate managers here or region owners, No? This next one is very handy. When the region's total script count changes. This will display a message in local chat if the number of scripts in a region suddenly jumps, either up or down. And there's a threshold there. This is where you can indicate the size of a jump needed for it to be reported. If the script count change is less than the value in the box, you will not be notified. Report collision notifications in nearby chat does just that. You wind up bumping something or something bumps you, it'll show you in nearby chat who it was or what it was. Then we have report collision notifications to scripts on channel, and this will send the notifications of a collision on the channel of your choice. Flash the app icon when receiving a message and Firestorm is not in focus. With this enabled, you'll get a visual notification if you get a message. It happens on your taskbar. The little icon on your taskbar for the viewer will flash. And there's also flash the app icon when receiving a script dialog and Firestorm is not in focus. With this, you get a visual notification if you get a scripted pop-up in the viewer while the viewer is not in focus. Disable object has been returned to your inventory notifications. You can enable this if you do not wish to be informed when objects are returned to you. Handy if you're cleaning up an entire region and it's multiple people doing it. And then we come to this one, enable growl. This allows the use of growl. And the extra option, enable growl even if Firestorm is active. This lets growl remain active even with Firestorm in focus. Now, both of these options will be grayed out if you do not have growl installed. So, who here is wondering what the heck is growl? Hands up, come on. I knew somebody would ask. Growl was originally a Mac application, and basically, if you had if you have it installed and set up properly, and you minimize the viewer, and Growl's running, this will put a little window up on your screen saying so-and-so has IM'd you or so-and-so has done this. Growl is available for Mac, it is available for Windows, and it's supported natively, I'm told, by Linux. So it can actually be handy if that's what you like. So any questions on this tab? And was that enough of an explanation about Growl? Cool. Alright then. I think we should just carry on to the alert sub-tab, because this one's nice and short. This is where you have your always show and never show pop-up options. Unlike in the V1 viewers where you had to disable all the pop-ups and enable only what you want, here in Firestorm you can disable the ones you want to disable and enable the ones one at a time if you like. You can multi-select using the shift or the control key as well, but you don't have to disable them all to enable just the ones you want. Any questions about that before I quickly move on? I don't think there will be. But I've been wrong before. Alright, so let's move on to the user interface tab. Preferences, user interface, and we'll start on the general sub-tab that you'll find there. First one is UI scaling. It says it may have side effects. You can adjust the slider to choose the size of the UI or user interface. Now, if you set this too high, depending on the resolution of your screen, it may mean that you cannot see all of the user interface. And it may also break some UI elements. Most commonly, you'll notice that bits of a couple letters off the end of the preferences will be missing. That's the most common issue with that. And the next thing we're going to talk about is something we all love and hate. Well, or love or hate. There is SAM. It's in the advanced menu at the top of your screen. Set UI size to default. So let's talk about hover tips. These options allow you to set what hover tips, if any, you see. And your options are show hover tips. You need that enabled to show any hover tips, and that'll allow you to see hover tips over avatars and scripted objects. You can also have it on all objects as well as on land. Now, the people that hate them say they're always popping up, they take too long to fade away, all that. So there's a hover tip trigger delay. And this allows you to choose how long your mouse has to hover over something before you get the hover tip. You can set individual times for the tooltips, avatars, and objects. Show extended information in the hover tips. This is the classic Phoenix style. This adds a lot more information to your hover tips. The name, description, the owner, what it's scripted to do if it is, how many prims it is, its land impact. You get the idea. With that disabled, you get the little V2 style hover tips where you have to click on the eye to see more information. Show avatar group titles and hover tips will do just that. You can hover your cursor over an avatar and see what their group title is if they're showing it. Use pie menu allows you to have pie menus. It's on by default. Most of you seem to like the pie menu. Personally, I think pie is best for eating. And then there's show lag meter. You can enable this if you want to display a small performance meter in the upper right hand corner of the menu bar. It consists of two bars. The left bar shows your packet loss. The right is the bandwidth being used. Both are real-time numbers. Show media controls in the top menu. This allows you to show or hide the media controls on the menu bar. People ask, why do you have that? Well, the vintage and latency skins have the media controls on the non-optional part of their bottom toolbar. Then there's use standalone windows for group profiles. If this is enabled, group profile windows will open in separate windows. If disabled, they'll open in the same window. So if you opened one and then opened the second one, it would replace the first one. So if you want multiple group windows open, you want that disabled. Teleport history. If this is enabled, your teleport history will open in a window separate from your landmarks window. Block and mute list. This keeps the list of blocked residents separate from the people panel. And landmarks, place details, and teleport history details. Similar to the above, but it keeps each type of location window separate rather than grouping them into a single window. And you can extend your teleport history by the position as well as the date. These will record additional information in your teleport history, actually tell you the date and where you were. Then we have script dialogues per object. This controls how script dialogues from the same object are handled. Your options are 1 dialogue per object, 1 per object and channel, or unconstrained. Then, one of the things new in 4.6.5, script dialogues position. This allows you to choose where your script dialogues show on your screen. And your options are importing the old value, dock to the chiclet, top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right. The next option, animate script dialogues. You can enable this to replicate the old V1 style behavior when opening script dialogues. This one only works if they open at the top of the screen. So the difference is this. With that enabled, they will drop down from the top of your screen. They'll actually slide down. With it disabled, they'll just appear magically. Group notice and chiclets in the top right does just as it says. It moves them from the bottom right to the top right. Hide group and IM chat chiclets. This allows you to hide the IM and group chat chiclets. You're still stuck with the conversations and notifications icons there though. Flashing IM tabs override. This allows you to fine tune how long and fast your IM tabs flash. The number of times the buttons flash allows you to adjust how many times they flash. And the rate the button flashes at, and it says hertz, allows you to fine tune how fast the IM tabs flash. Instead of hertz, think per second, folks. So, any questions on this tab? I say as I reach for my tea yet again. Alright, I'll take that as a no. So let's move on to the toast sub-tab that I'm going to blitz through rather quickly because most of this, most people aren't going to touch. This is your notification display settings. This is where you can fine-tune the way your toast look and act. You can adjust the space between the lowest toast and the bottom. You can adjust the notification toast life in seconds. This is the one that most people, the most common one that people adjust actually. You can adjust the tip toast life, the nearby chat toast life, the nearby chat toast Z offset, your nearby chat toast fade time, your startup toast life, your normal toast fade time, the gap between the toasts, the height of your overflow toasts, and the width of your nearby chat toasts. Lots of options if you want to play with them. And there's this one, show toasts in front of other windows. And that'll do just that. So if you had your chat window up there and you got a group notice, for example, it would show in front of that other window. Then we come to the fun one. Use new region restart notification. You can enable this to use the new system for region restart notifications, which can include a distinctive sound as well as your screen shaking. The alert sound feature can be enabled or disabled in your Preferences, Sound and Media tab, UI Sounds 3 sub-tab. And if you like the sound, but you don't like the shake, you have this option. Don't shake my screen when region restart alert message is shown. And if you check that, the screen shake goes away, but the sound doesn't. They're separate. You have to disable them separately. Any questions on this tab? Sir, you don't like the shake? Well, there you go, Zed. You can get rid of it. I personally do. That's the height offset. Vertical height offset. Something that most people would never play with, Blue. Alrighty. So, let's move on to the font sub-tab. Font scheme, this allows you to choose one of the following fonts from the drop-down menu. There's Deja Vu, Droid, Dyslexia, Liberation, Mobi, Roboto, and Ubuntu. Now you can see samples of each font on our wiki. There's a link to the page that they're shown on, and you might think there's not much difference, but I can pretty much guarantee if you switched over for a week to one of the other ones, you wouldn't notice a difference. And the font size adjustment. This lets you change the size of the font. The default is 0.0, and larger values may not work well. It does require a restart to enable it. One big bit of advice here. Move it up a little bit at a time if you're going to try it, folks. Don't say, oh, I need it 10 times as big and set it to 10, because then you'll be going, ah! Chat line spacing, this is the spacing between lines of text. Folder item height, this is the height of items in your inventory. Any questions on this tab? And again, I will take that as a no. I don't think you've all managed to fall asleep at once, so. We're going to move on to the skins tab. We're just going to blitz through this. This is where you can choose the skin and color scheme that you want to use. Now, please note that there are differences in layouts and icons with different skins. Screenshots of the skins, as well as a list of all the differences, are available on our wiki at that link. And the Ancestorm skin's got 3 color schemes. The Firestorm has 5. Latency has just the 1. Meta Harper Modern has 3. The Starlight skin has 6 color schemes. The Starlight CUI skin has 2 color schemes. That said, these 2 are the most customizable schemes available, as you get to choose the colors that you see. Well, some of them anyhow. The Vintage skin only has the classic color scheme. It's designed to look and feel as close as possible to the original Phoenix skin. And the Latency skin is very similar to the Vintage. There is an option here, and that's reset the toolbars to the skin's preferred layout when changing skins. And this will reset your toolbar choices to the defaults for whatever skin you select if you change your skin. So if you customize your toolbar, folks, I don't recommend having that enabled. You might be a little frustrated at having to redo your toolbar customization all over again. Now, if you want more information on the skin options, please either see our wiki or come out to a skins class. Yes, blatantly promoting other classes here. So let's move on to the Sound and Media tab. General sub-tab to start with. Several volume sliders here, so you can customize levels for each. Note that the master volume slider affects all volume. There's an option here, mute when minimized. Checking this will mute all sounds from the viewer when you minimize it, when you minimize the viewer. And you can enable or disable streaming music, media, which is video, and voice chat from the checkboxes to the right of the respective volume sliders. Play sounds from collisions to the right of the ambient slider will let you hear sounds when you collide with someone or something, or not if you turn it off. And then this one. This one's been very, very popular. And that's play sounds from gestures to the right of the sound effects slider. You can enable this to hear sounds from gestures. Or, if you're like me and you've heard one too many whoo, when somebody does a woot in a club, you can just turn them off. Allow media to autoplay. With this enabled, media will play automatically when you enter the parcel or region. It is not recommended. Allow in-world scripts to play media. This will allow scripts to automatically start your media. Again, this is not recommended. Play media attached to other avatars. This enables media attached to other avatars to be seen or heard. Think media on a prim. For example, I could put attach a box to my head and play you a song or show you a web page or whatever. Enable media filter. This is for increased security. This lets you control what media streams you connect to, allowing you to whitelist or blacklist any media stream. And there's a Manage Media Sites button. This allows you to edit your whitelist domains and blacklist domains by adding or removing them from either category. Next is Show Stream Title Notifications. This is for audio streams that supply this information. The song title and artist will be shown either not at all, in TOS, or a nearby chat, whichever you choose. And there's the option to send stream title to chat channel. This lets you choose what channel the viewer uses for the above option. Enable parcel audio fading allows you to use the two sliders to determine the fade in and fade out of audio streams when you move from one parcel to another. Some people experience problems with that enabled, some don't. Personally, I find it annoying. And sound source roll-off distance. I love this one actually. There's a minimum here. This controls when a sound source will start to fade out, and a maximum. This controls when a sound source will no longer be audible. Now by sound source here, I don't mean the radio. I don't mean somebody talking on voice. I mean an in-world sound source like a cricket or a crow or frogs or anything like that. Then we have the Linden dollar change threshold. This sets the value above which you'll get an audible alert when you receive or spend lindens. Amounts below this will not trigger a sound. Any questions on this tab? Okay. Basically, it's as North said, it's handy for scripts. For example, if you had a board that reported, you could use it to have a script report it. Sam, no, it's been there for quite some time now. Mute when minimized. It's been there for 3 or 4 releases, anyhow. Said, was that a good enough explanation? Cool. Alright, so next we're going to move on to the voice settings subtab. First, a warning. Please do not click on anything in here until I am done describing it. Enable voice, you can check that to enable voice. If you ever lose voice someplace, come in here or go to the volume controller on the top right of your screen, disable voice, wait a couple seconds, enable it again. Usually that fixes it. Then we have allow voice in multiple instances simultaneously. This lets you run multiple instances of the viewer with voice in all of them. And then you can choose to hear voice either from the camera position, avatar position, or you can hear voice equally from everyone. It doesn't automatically adjust all their volumes. If someone had their volume low, you'd still have to turn them up. If it was high, you'd still have to turn them down. But you can hear everybody, and you don't have to. Who was saying that? And adjust them individually. Then we have move avatar lips when speaking, also known as lip sync. This will cause you to see avatar's lips moving when they speak in voice. Some people hate this. They think it looks creepy. Personally, I love it. It makes me feel like I'm in a badly dubbed Chinese Western. You know the ones I'm talking about. Their mouths move for 2 minutes. You can see them talking for about 2 minutes. And the only word that actually comes out is no. Show voice visualizers over avatars. When this is enabled, it will show the dot over avatars on voice as well as the green lines. Some people don't like seeing the dots. You can get rid of them now if you like. Show voice visualizers in calls. This shows the voice indicator, and if you have lip sync enabled, it will move. You'll see avatar's lips moving while you're in a private call. Now, only those in that call will see it. Anybody not in that private voice call will not see the voice dots, nor will they see the lips moving. Next comes automatically reject all incoming group voice calls. You can enable this to automatically decline group voice chat. Yes. You get the idea. I like that. Automatically reject all incoming ad hoc conference voice calls. You can enable this to automatically decline voice conference calls. And you can automatically reject all incoming P2P or avatar-to-avatar voice calls. So it would automatically decline them. There's toggle speak on or off when I press, and clicking the set key button here allows you to assign a button on your keyboard to toggle voice. So toggle your mic on or off. And then we have your audio device settings button. This opens a section where you can choose your input and output devices as well as adjust the mic volume. You will be disconnected from in-world voice while this is open. To close it, simply click the button again, like Wild Blue did. She's busted. So, any questions on this tab, folks? You didn't wait until I was done talking about a wild. You're a bad, bad, bad girl. We're going to have to give you homework. All right. So next are 3 tabs. The UI Sounds 1, UI Sounds 2, and UI Sounds 3 subtabs. These tabs allow you to choose different sounds for various things that happen in the viewer, as well as Second Life, as well as be able to not hear them, if that's your choice. There are 2 buttons by each one. The P will play the sound, and the D will reset to the default sound, which implies that you can set your own custom sounds. And you can. To choose a new sound, find a full permission sound in your inventory. If you don't have any, you can go out and you can buy some, you can import them. They're around. I seem to recall there was a large box of freebies. Several large boxes of freebie sounds at some of the freebie places. So anyhow, you simply find a full perm sound in your inventory, you right click on it, you click on copy asset UUID, and then come back and paste it in the proper text box. So any questions on the sound and media tabs, folks? No? So let's move on to the crash report tab. Has everybody here crashed at one point or another? Do you send in your crash reports? Now, this tab allows you to set the default behavior for sending of crash reports to the Phoenix Firestorm team for analysis. So there's the first one, send crash reports to phoenixviewer.com. You can enable this to have crash reports sent to us. There's a mini dump type. This is not currently supported. This work never quite got finished. But the possible values are minimal, default, and extended. And then there's this option. Always ask before sending. If this is enabled, you'll get a request after each crash asking whether or not to send the logs. Now, how many of you hate being asked whether you want it to send or not? Anybody here hate it? Would prefer that it just happen by itself? There is one very large advantage to having it ask, and that is there's a text box on that window, crash report window that comes up, that you could fill in to add any additional information. You know, I just TP'd to such and such a place and crashed on teleport or whatever you happen to know was going on at the time. Next option is include settings XML. If this is enabled, this will send your preferences settings as well, which can be helpful in diagnosing the problem. Note that this file does contain your Second Life name. There's also an option to include your Second Life name. This can be handy if you enable it. It can allow us to contact you for more information if we need to, or optionally, and we have done this, contacted people to test a different build for us to see if that works for them. Now, I do ask that you take a look at our privacy policy. There's the link to the wiki page that it's on. It tells you exactly what information we get from you and what we do with it. Short answer is we don't get much, and we don't do squat with it. I mean, we might contact you, but we really don't do anything with it. Any questions about the crash reports? No? Well, congratulations, folks. You made it through the class. Before we go any further, I want to thank you personally for taking the time to come out to this class. It's huge to us on the support team that you're willing to come out and learn. I also want to thank you on behalf of the entire Phoenix Firestorm team for using our viewer. You, the viewer users, are the reason that Firestorm is as popular as it is. Sid, you're quite welcome. I always tell people I do this because I'm selfish and I'm lazy. I enjoy doing it. And the more our users know, the less work I ultimately have to do. So, and that brings us to the open Q&A section. If you have any questions at all, folks, feel free to ask them. And if you wanted to use voice, feel free to use voice. Well, it truly is my pleasure. And I'll let you go this time without extra homework. You want my personal opinion, Ed? Is that what you're after, my personal opinion? I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do. It might be scary, Zed. It might not. Okay, you're about to hear my rant about this. Okay? All we know is that Linden Lab is working on a new virtual world, a new grid. That's all we know. People are worried that they're going to be closing Second Life and yada, yada, yada. As long as Second Life is profitable, Linden Lab's not going to close it. Come on. They're a business. So I guess the short answer, Zed, is this. I'm very excited. Well, that's because you haven't been coming to classes, Sam. I'm very excited to see what they do. And I'm not overly concerned about it because I know for a fact that as long as Second Life is profitable, that's it. As long as Second Life itself is profitable, Linden Lab won't close it. They're a business. They're here to make money. So, and we could go into all sorts of supposition. Will we be able to move our names over? Will we be able to take our inventory with us? Will we be able to do that? And quite frankly, there are no answers yet. Linden Lab doesn't even know. Me too, Flossie. I'm really curious. I mean, Ebby, when he said, think SL, only better, really made me curious. Yeah, like Katie said, Sam, check out the blog. That's the thing. We don't know what they're doing, and we won't know for some time. Well, I can see why some people would be concerned, Electronic. I mean, personally, I'm not. But I refuse to get all very excited about this, about things like that. Let me put it that way. Because we don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to get all of our inventory over there. Maybe we won't be able to get any. Maybe we'll be able to get a bit. Maybe we'll be able to take our names to the new grid. Maybe we won't. However, it's all supposition. I'm an extremely lazy person. I think everybody that knows me, I'm lazy. I tell them. I'm blunt about it. I can't be bothered wasting the energy worrying about what might happen. You want to know why I don't have shoes on? I'll give you the serious answer.